What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, it is the 19th day of October, and here we are sitting at $2.41 right now, 9 hours and 20 minutes left in the day. We're up 2% on the day so far, having a little bit of a recovery. I think we're getting some life based off of Bitcoin getting some life as well, breaking out of this little range here. I am expecting this to be some kind of a bull trap, and that we will probably revert back down. I don't know if that means that we'll see lower lows. This really could be the low, but something that is likely going to be below 106K again. That would be my expectation before moving higher. Okay, so a little shakeout here and there. Right now we're squeezing the shorts. We're making the short sellers second guess themselves. Then we'll make the long buyers second guess themselves, and then we rally. And then the shorts double down, yeah, and then we have all the fuel we need to really rally, and I'm expecting that that'll happen pretty soon here. Looking at this, and again, understanding what Bitcoin's going to do helps us understand what XRP is going to do. Looking at this on a 1 hour time frame, and actually let's look at this on a chart with some volume. Let's do USDT Binance. Let's see here. $2.41 right now, not a whole lot of volume, and that's fine, right? We're moving up without volume. That just kind of reinforces the thought that, yeah, this move will likely get given back. Doesn't mean that it has to. Sometimes you move up without volume and we're in this overall range, and then the volume comes in once we actually break out of this range, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did give some of it back. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame here. The RSI is at areas of resistance that it's found resistance at before, going back here. You could be getting overbought. You do look productive overall, but you're just not doing anything. And again, the lack of volume, I think, is a real testament to that there. The stochastics are overbought, which is nice. The MACD actually looks productive, if we're being fair, as well. Looking at these indicators, I think it would be incorrect to assume that we're done moving up here. So let's see. Low to high, or high to low, I'm sorry. High to low. Golden ratio, perhaps here at 240, perhaps we move up to 246, 250 first. We move up here, we find turbulence, and then we move down. And likely from that point, from the golden ratio, we'd move back down to the 0.5382 area and then move up from there. But if we find resistance here at the 0.5, it's common enough in circumstances such as these to go from your 0.5 directly to your 236. So look for support depending on what we do. If we move up first, if the indicators are accurate and telling us, hey, we are going to move up from here, okay, cool, I'll bite. Then that means we're going to go to 246 to 249, 250, let's say 246 to 250. We find resistance up there, we'll pull right back down to 240 to 235, something like that for support, and then we'll move up. Okay. It's statistically improbable that you hit the golden ratio and pull back to the 236. Typically, if you hit the golden ratio after your first attempt, you pull back to the 0.5382 area. Either line specifically or the area most likely. If, however, I'm wrong and we don't move up from here, the indicators are leading us astray, and my gut is leading me correctly, then I would think we find resistance here at the 0.5 and we go directly back to the 236, taking us below this level, just like what I'm expecting for Bitcoin, and then we move on up afterwards. Right? Perhaps even we see a lower low. That's very possible. And I want to take this moment to say, the low right now at $2.19, we've been talking about the prospects of going down to something that's around 215 to 205, somewhere in that kind of area, right around $2.10. And that's still very much on the table. That is still very much a possible outcome. It's important to remember that, because even though we are talking about higher numbers here, if and when we see lower prices, it's not a time to panic. It's a time to get greedy and buy more while other people are fearful, because we're likely going to have a dramatic recovery from there if we are to go lower. I have to admit, with the recent price action today, I am starting to reconsider the thought of going lower. It's very possible that this is the low. However, I don't want to be surprised, right? I'm not surprised if we do go below like $2.10, $2.20. If we do that again, I wouldn't really be surprised by that at all. Regardless of if this is the low, or this is a higher low, or this is a lower low, or we double bottom, whatever it might be, you guys, we're in the low area right now. We're probably at the high ends of this low area, but I would think effectively going to the golden ratio would start to validate this as a low. And depending on what we do afterwards, that would definitely validate this as a low. If we find resistance here and we go down to the 236, there is a chance there's a chance that we find support there and move up, or that we do take that out and that we do go lower. It depends on what we do. As long as $2.30 holds, I suppose the idea that this is the low remains relevant. But whenever we break $2.29, if we break that on a 1 hour closing basis or higher time frame closing basis, ideally, if we break below $2.29, that would likely imply that we are going to see a lower low. And that's okay. Again, it's not going to be a dramatic lower low. It's just something above $2 yet below 220. Okay. 210, right around there. Anyways, again, not getting a bearish hint at all off of these indicators. The RSI is at a point to reject, but you look positive. And I mean, if I'm looking at the indicators for what they are suggesting higher prices. So again, using that to our advantage, the logical next area would be 246 to 250 dollars to expect as a price range. Okay, so looking at the 4 hour time frame, zooming out a little bit here, we are clearly breaking out of this downtrend and breaking out of this phase here. 4 hour RSI looks postured upwards and proper, right? We've got higher lows and higher highs here. It makes sense that we go higher. Shorts overall are dominant compared to longs, at least over the last 30 days. It is Sunday, it is the weekend, you know, we do have, let's say, deceitful price action happen on the weekend sometimes, so maybe we move up today and then we move down tomorrow, whatever the case may be. Maybe the low is in. Maybe I just got to get over that and accept that that's the low and that we're not going lower. Maybe. And that's fine. I don't care, you know, if we're expecting the low to be here or around there and this is the low, guess what? Close is close enough. If you're thinking about buying XRP but you're waiting on this to happen, I would say screw that noise. Just buy here, take your licks if they come, and then, you know, we'll rally soon enough. But don't let me stop you from executing your plan properly. Maybe we do go down to this level. Again, I'm not trying to say that that's impossible. It's just right now things are looking pretty compelling for this to be the low. It depends on how today closes. It depends on how tomorrow closes, but we really could have something going on here. But at the moment, I'd say it's like 50-50. Is this the low? Is it not the low? I'd say it's 50-50 at the moment. Stochastics look bullish. The MACD is bearish overall, but you have some bullish prospects here. You know, with the way this looks, it might look like today or tomorrow you get up to this zero line and then you reject there. That's a possible outcome. Typically, you do reject the zero on your first interaction with it, but that doesn't mean you have to. You absolutely could break out. If you break out above the zero, if the stochastics remain overbought, if the RSI gets overbought, all these things happen over the next couple of days, then likely you have found your low. Likely we are progressing to higher prices, but time will tell. I'm assuming that if this happens by the time I make my next video, if we like break out and move higher, you guys will already know, right? Like if we're above 250 and we're moving higher, we're getting daily closes above 250, we likely have validated this as a low. If we close above really even 246, I would say. Where's that golden ratio at? It's 246, right? Let's see. Right there. 246, yeah. Closing a day above 246 would do it for me. That would really validate this as a low in my opinion, but we still have a lot of work to do, but at that point I would definitely be excited. Daily time frame here. Looking at the daily time frame, the RSI is showing bullish divergence, right? We have lower lows with higher lows here, bouncing right off the oversold zone. This is the best case scenario, I think, to build out that the low is in, actually. This is a pretty fierce setup. And while the bullish divergence has already come to fruition, it's very possible that we do continue moving higher. Everybody's very bearish on crypto right now. The fear and greed index is at a 27. It makes the utmost sense that we would find support somewhere around here. Bullish divergence on the MACD as well. These divergences can further. We could absolutely close lower and still get further divergence, but at the moment things are looking good, guys. It really does depend on how today closes. Okay. If we come down by the end of the day, we're closing lower. If we close red, certainly I would think that there's a chance that we go lower. But if we close above 246, I don't know, man. That's pretty condemning to the bears. Validating for the bulls. If we're looking at this on a weekly time frame, we zoom out, things only get more bullish. You've got lower lows in your RSI. You're right at an area to bounce at the 40 here. The week is about to close. We've got 9 hours, 11 minutes left. If you close right here or around this area, which you likely will, you're at a prime area to bounce on the RSI. Lower lows in the RSI with higher lows in the price. And yes, it is higher lows. I know this wick is a lower low, but the RSI doesn't go off of wicks. It goes off of closing points. The higher lows here on the closing points with the lower lows in the RSI is hidden bullish divergence. Same thing on the stochastics, and also you're at a prime area to bounce at the stochastics on the 50 here. Overall, the MACD is bullish. Yes, you've built some bearish divergence here, but I'm not worried about that at all. I shouldn't say bearish divergence. I'm sorry, bearish momentum, but I'm not worried about that at all. Really, you've got the exact same thing going on where you have a low here, a lower low in your histogram, and yet you have higher lows in your price. Hidden bullish divergence literally on every single indicator. Finding support at the middle of this zone here where you found resistance once before, where you found support before here in this middle of the zone overall. I think that you are set up spectacularly to see some new all-time highs, to rally and really see some productive movements here. We're going to take last cycle's high to the bear market low and just see if we can make sense out of any of these areas. To me, it makes the most sense that we're probably not going to stop at the golden ratio. We've already interacted with this 1272. We've consolidated here. I mean, maybe you find some significance there just because it's the golden ratio. You find a little pivot there, $6.46. But I would expect really we continue upwards to $11 to $13.46, somewhere in this zone, if not a little bit above that. It is common enough to wick a little bit above the 200 level, so sometimes you do, and we are expecting prices between about like $13 to $15. So overall, going into the end of the year, something like this is what we're expecting to see. XRP is on a path to higher prices and glory. Who cares about the 10-cent drop, 20-cent drop that it may or may not have here? It's definitely, and again, don't let me stop you from buying. It's definitely at a great price to buy. Even if we do go down to $2.10, my thoughts would be buy here and eat through the pain. You know, who cares? Maybe buy now, save some for if the dip comes, then allocate more in, and if it continues to move up, you can buy more. What I would do, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, if I was in a position, again, strictly speaking to what I would do, if I was in a position where I have some cash, I want to buy some XRP, I was thinking about buying here, but I didn't, and now it's up here, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, I would probably just say, screw it, I was wrong, I'm going to put in half the stack, 20% of the stack, whatever, in here. I'm going to buy it right now. And then if XRP takes out this high, I'm buying more. If it takes out this low, I'm buying more. And that's what I would do. I would happily buy at higher prices, validating that the low is in and that we are moving higher. I would happily buy at lower prices because, well, it's cheaper. So, and then that way I'm at least in. If it goes higher, I've got some gains to go off of, right? I'm mitigating. If I buy here, I'm kind of mitigating where that dollar cost average is. And then same thing here, you know, if it goes down, at least I have some dry powder here to do the exact same thing. So, you know, if you catch the next low, it does go below here, you could buy what is equivalently here, which again, looking back retrospectively right now, that is a smart area to buy. So wouldn't you wish to buy there? You could literally DCA down to that average if you time it properly. The world's your oyster. You could do whatever you want. But again, this is just what I would do. That's what I would do if I was contemplating buying here. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. There's nothing wrong with putting it in multiple stacks. I don't know how everybody does it, but I talked to some people that I know in the real world, and they typically do market orders, or if they hit a limit order, they just do it on the spot. Nobody actually uses limit orders for what they're supposed to be used for. Use your limit orders for what they're supposed to be used for. Put your limits down here. You know, if you're buying here, and then if the price goes up here, you're going to buy. There's nothing wrong with having limit orders down here just in case it dips down there. What if it dips really fast? What if it dips really fast? The exchanges go down. You don't have time. You're at work. You're in the bathroom. You're doing something with your girlfriend, whatever it might be. You don't have time to press the buy order. You just have it sitting there. You know, put it at a level. Don't be too greedy. But again, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do whatever you want to do. I do believe that regardless of this potential 20-cent, 30-cent drop that XRP may or may not have, despite that, we are going to see prices all the way up at about $13 and beyond, I think, going into the end of this year. So that's all I got. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, prepare for a pump. I do want to mention also, damn it, I meant to mention this earlier in this video. I'm getting all distracted because I'm hearing my daughter cough, and I'm thinking about her. The 29th of October is the announcement of the FOMC meeting. They're going to, what's the word? They're going to do a press conference and announce that rate cuts are happening. So we very well could have found the low and are just pumping now into that rate cut announcement. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happened, either starting now, or I guess 2 days ago at this point, or if it starts very soon, right? We've got a very short amount of time. We're probably going to pump going into that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Sorry I was a little scattered all over the place, but I hope this video was good nonetheless. All right, take care. Bye.